I really enjoyed that exercise we did together, which was the values one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was really helpful. And again, it was about intentionally taking that time to sit and do it. I can't remember if we did it.
It's the first thing we did.
The first thing we did. There you go.
Yeah. I'm a bit obsessed with values.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about values in this sort of abstract concept, like it's not tangible. But quite simply, like motivators, we've got two types of motivators: extrinsic motivators. The brain loves extrinsic motivators.
Mm-hmm.
Extrinsic motivators are kind of created by society. So money and status is the traditional extrinsic motivators. So when we're younger, we don't have status and we don't have money, and it's a massive focus for us because we leave school or whatever education and we enter the workforce, and we're sort of looking for those things. And whether we're passionate about them or make them happy is sometimes not that important. We just need to get paid every month so we can maybe go and have fun in the evenings and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's more that we're trying to get those sort of things. My hope is that as we get older, we start to see like extrinsic motivators as essentially quite hollow, in the sense that they don't actually deliver satisfaction, fulfillment, joy, excitement, all those different things. But in times of like emotional turmoil, and we don't know where to go, we don't know quite what our future is, we automatically go back to extrinsic motivators, being like, well, maybe if I get a job that pays like 10 grand more, that will make the difference. And then they do it, and then a month in being like, oh shit, I'm just as miserable. Why is that then? Or, greater status, or maybe I get that new job title, or maybe I get that new sponsorship, or whatever that may be, and be like, I don't feel any different. So that's extrinsic motivators. The brain loves that. And then there's a thing called intrinsic motivators. Intrinsic motivators kind of like visualize that they live here. It manifests essentially in like flow state.
Okay.
When you're just doing something and sort of time disappears. That can manifest in your hobbies. If you look at your to-do list and there's a thing that you spend 5 hours doing, and someone might be like, what are you doing? There's like no point doing that. There's no point spending 5 hours painting a Games Workshop figurine. Like, what's the point in that? For that person, they're just like a pig in shit, super happy, all that sort of stuff. It's like fundamentally feeding them. And often when I ask people about how they make decisions, people often say to me, gut feel. So you might take a left instead of taking a right. I'd be like, but why there and not there? Gut feel, Tom, that's felt like the right thing to do. So what's going on with there? Like, explain to me. And most people will be like, I can't. It just felt like the right thing to do, Tom. I don't know what to say. And this is essentially where values come into play, because sort of underneath that gut decision is this concept of values, which is essentially the closest thing I think we have to a compass.
Yeah.
If we are connected to our values and make decisions with our values in mind, it's leading us in a direction that fundamentally like fulfills us. We're in situations that fulfill us. We have a kind of core set of values that are set by our late teens, early 20s, and they don't change. No. They are fundamental to who we are. Our bodies like constantly trying to get closer to them, and our brain doesn't care. Our brain's basically not overly interested in that, just trying to get more status and like more money and all that sort of stuff. So we're always in a bit of a battle with each other. Lots of people, what they try and sometimes do is try and get success and money and then shoehorn values into it. So doing something that's financially rewarding or gives them good status, and then trying to find out ways to enjoy it. As mad as that sounds, like lots of people in careers are in that, where they've been like, I get paid loads. I'm not crazy happy, but they try and find bits in the day that make them happy. And I guess I would try and rearrange that to be, I think money and fame or status, whatever that looks for each person, comes from essentially listening to your values first. So 8 years ago, I really worked on what my values are, and most decisions I make are through the lens of a value. Okay. So for example, the reason that I'm here is a values-based decision. So my core values is freedom. So essentially that's like autonomy and independence. So it's not an accident that I sort of work for myself. I basically want freedom of choice over everything.
Yeah.
Adventure, which is essentially curiosity, discovery, exploration. What's around there? What's going on in there? Like on the train here, I was just a bit just like, this is badass, so fun. Walking here, what's going on here then? And then my third value is connection, which is essentially like community, belonging, all that sort of stuff. So if you were to put my, if you put like those supper clubs in the middle of like those three values, it's logic. It makes sense why I did them. Each one is completely different. It's a bit of I don't really know how it's going to go. There's an element of just like, it's connection and community. And then from the freedom aspect, knowing loads of people gives me an absolute sense of like autonomy, that I feel like supported, and that actually if I have a problem, whatever that problem may be, I actually have like loads of different people to call upon now.
Yeah.
And that, if I need to talk to a lawyer, actually there's probably about 10 lawyers that have come to dinner with me like in 2014 alone.
Right.
2024 alone.
Okay.
So I could call them up and be like, I got a bit of a problem. What do you think? Instead of being like trying to find one on the high street and being, I've got like a big community now.
Yeah. Network is your net worth.
Network is your net worth.
Yeah.
So I think, that's essentially what values are.
Can you just explain it in that way that I think you kind of just did, about it being in a circle?
It's a triangle.
Triangle, sorry.
Yeah, it's a triangle.
And then when you have a value that is out of that, how does that?
Essentially, like imagine a triangle, and you put your 3 values in each one. Each value is in a family, so we probably have about 12 or 14 values in total as human beings. Where our values are developed from, we sometimes take on our family values, parent values. Sometimes we take the opposing ones, and then especially in our teenage years, we take on the values of the scenes that we're in. I come from sort of, like I said before, like sort of like punk and metal and stuff like that. A lot of my values kind of come from that, that kind of like autonomy and choice and freedom, that's really in part of that. And the community element, being the one that were teased in town because, we were like what we in the West Country called grebos. Yeah. Being the outsiders in town wearing the band t-shirts and all that sort of stuff. And back then, like mega baggy clothes and stuff like that.
Do you think that's formed around that age?
I think the teenage years, like you guys, mountain biking has a set of values, whether you realize it or not. And you would have taken those on from the kind of the forefathers and the brands and the community and what we would call like the hand-me-down or cultural values, cultural beliefs and values of that thing. Yeah. And then we suck onto them. I work with lots of people who come from sort of real like punk DIY, and it does impact their everyday thoughts around what or is or isn't life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it puts a lens in terms of, what life should be, an attitude, a feeling of how you exist in that world. It's a values thing. So it I think, and I don't think they change. That's my philosophy, that they're set. I don't see any evidence of them changing. We reinterpret them as we get older. Anyway, so I think it's like a triangle, right? And what I do with everybody, and which I did with you, is that you basically have to put a real life situation in the middle, and then use it as a bit of an analytical tool. So let's just say, most people come to me and things are like complicated, feeling beige, unhappy, low, frustrated, all those different things. For me, I've got to understand fundamentally what is happening from a values aspect, and then I'll be able to help them understand, like, fundamentally, there's something you do not have which you deem very, very important to you. Yep. If we can understand that, then it's a bit like, well, how do we get that? So, for example, if I put... is that a piece of paper? Don't have to.
Let's find one.
Yeah, it might be easier for me to do on a piece of paper. If considering there's like a camera,
you've got
or a marker.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think so.
I really love this exercise. I found it quite fascinating.
Marker. Yeah, I don't need to draw like loads on. I'm going to draw it.
Do you want that to lean on?
No. Let's move this.
It'd be pretty cool leaning on your own clapperboard with your name on.
Okay. First time we've had art on the show.
Art attack.
Let's do it. Okay. The camera's on you anyway.
Camera's on me. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Can you see that, guys? Everyone get involved. Triangle and a dot, and that can represent any real life situation, micro or macro. I've put my 3 values in there, like freedom, adventure, and connection. And quite quickly, so let's say if I'm working with somebody and I put, say, their career in there and I put their personal life in there, and though all 3 values are being suppressed, if we actually look at it being like, do you have these 3 things? And all 3 are being suppressed, they will not be in a good mental state at all. Because they don't really have anything that is fundamental to them.
Yeah.
They're not having anything that is like is essentially their food. They don't have. Quite a rare circumstance.
Okay.
What is common in our jobs and at certain points in our life, if I was to put somebody's like job in there or career, that's sometimes quite common. It's essentially two values are being suppressed, but one is being massively met. So in this example, I could say, let's say I was working for somebody, it would be like, yeah, I mean, I have loads of autonomy in my job and I can do whatever I want, but I'm basically isolated and I don't get to talk to anybody, and I'm just doing the same thing every day. That's so what happens in this situation is that from a coaching standpoint, I'd be like, well, we've got to try and figure out how we get you less isolated, and kind of have more fun, learn more things. Adventure is about like curiosity and learning, doing new things. But in this situation, what my brain will do, logically speaking, there could be an argument to say like, maybe find something else to do, maybe. But my brain will basically, which is afraid of uncertainty, and wants more predictability, will be a little bit like, your job's not that bad. At least you have autonomy and freedom to do at least nobody's asking where you are during the day. Yeah. You might be alone every day, but it's not that bad. It'll basically do everything it can to basically stop me making a change. And my job is to be like, there's another way. The biggest shift in my life came from like really understanding these and then starting to put like a lot of my decisions in the middle of those. My goal is basically to exist where all of these are being met all the time. It's like a lifelong thing, but I will say, you know, at the end of a day, I can feel, you know, those days where you just feel like, you know, you try and watch something and you're fidgety and you can't sit, you can't relax, and you know it hasn't been a good day for whatever reason. Most of the time I go back to this, and whenever I feel like that, it's because I've basically just done routine things. I've just been like in apps. Routine's not great for me. Like I literally haven't learned anything new, haven't tried anything new. And it could be some minuscule, I've just made the same dish for dinner. Yeah. Like just really, haven't spoken to anyone.
Which
literally
is a common
just
thing.
like just on my own, like just absolute. And that's not to say I don't want that. Sometimes like intentionally I want some time alone. But I haven't like reached out, had a conversation, not even a WhatsApp, which has then impacted this. I just felt trapped basically. And so quite quickly I can be like, oh, I totally know why. Totally know why that was a rubbish day. And I could have changed it at any point with that. Yeah. You know, so it's quite a simplistic, it feels quite simplistic. It's complex, but often when we're in really complex situations, we think they're they're unsolvable. And it's trying to find lots of toolkits and methodologies, which is kind of what coaching is about, to start reinterpreting things and breaking it down to be like, what could I change? What can I do? So my goal is to try and get everybody I work with to basically get closer to this all the time. Yeah. This is unique for everybody. Everybody's got a different set of values. There's so many different types of values, but that will inform their behavior. If I'm in situations where this is happening, being suppressed, you'll get like a different version of me. Okay. You'll get like the grayer shade of the emotional spectrum. So like here is like, you know, I'm gonna be engaged, excited, fulfilled, satisfied. I'll be successful. Loads of great things. If these start getting suppressed, I'm going to be passive aggressive. I'm going to be guarded. I might be angry, pissed off. Like, yeah, a lot of our grayer shade of our emotional spectrum. So it manifests in essentially behavior. I often say, if you're getting a really weird version of somebody, like they seem really triggered by you, or you're a bit just like, what is wrong with you? Like, what's going on? And they're just like, oh, you know, and you're a bit like, I would guarantee something is happening here. And everybody's got different, you know, kindness is a huge value for people, compassion, equality, all those different things. Everybody's got a slightly different thing. And if you can work out people's mix, you can be like, yeah. The hope is with our loved ones, we've kind of subconsciously we've worked that stuff out, being like, oh, that's why you're so annoyed. You know, somebody that maybe has like, kind of quite ethical values and things like that, which is a lot around honesty and openness and transparency and all those things, in situations that which seem to break their version of that, they're going to be just like fucking raging. Yeah. And, you know, whereas if you don't share those values, you're a bit just like, calm down, it's not that deep. But for them it is. It's a bit, so, you know, that's why
doing that really helped me understand
Do you remember your ones?
Yeah, helped me understand me, obviously, especially something I was working on and was a part of. And I was like, oh, this is why I'm not into it. It's because it's not meeting 2 of my 3 values. And then also really helped me understand other people that I'm close to. So just be like, that's why. It makes sense. So you can just kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a massive thing. Like,
yeah,
it's really like that.
It was exactly.
Yeah.
But the way this kind of little formula or exercise that I do, I spent loads of time because I want to make it tangible. It's not like this. It's not like a nice to know thing. It's essential to know because it's so connected to essentially how your gut works and what instinctively feels like right.
Yeah.
You know, we're often like loads of rooms and we feel really uncomfortable. A bit like, why do I don't feel like myself in here. There's like something going on around your values. And it could be the people that you're in. It could be, you know, there's a reason why, you know, certain people don't work with certain brands. And because it's a bit like, well, it doesn't reflect me.
Your values, yeah.
Your values in some sort of way.
Yeah.
You know, it does, so it's not quite right for me. Where from the outside looking in, be like, why would you not, I don't know, do that and then take the money? But they seem absolutely resolute, being like, it's not about that. I don't care what they're going to pay me. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And the outside world just think that was madness.
It's true.
You know, just being like, why would you not?
Yeah. Is there a
just take the money?
Is there a term for this exercise, or is it?
No, it's completely my methodology.
Is it? Yeah. Wow, interesting.
There are lots of like little exercises and stuff like that, like online, where you can try and work out your values.
Yeah.
But every time I've done them, they're not rigid enough. And they're really hard to do it alone because what you want to be careful is, you could pick a value that's not a value. You could pick something that you would love to have, but it's not authentically yours. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So there's lots of times I've actually tried to try to like maybe create like a digital version of this where people could just do it themselves. But I haven't worked it out because it needs somebody to basically pull it apart. Being like,
it needs prompts.
It needs like pulling apart, because you could easily choose a word. And if you choose a word and you believe that word to be an actual proper value and authentic to you, it will start impacting your decision making and behaviors.
Yeah.
And if it's the wrong thing, it can set you off in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Sales pitch, you can hire me. You can just do, this is just like, it takes about 90 minutes.
Yep.
You can hire me to do it. And
really good.
And I always try and do this with like everybody. It's always like the first session I do with everyone, basically.
Yeah. It just sets the standard. Well, it sets the base, doesn't it, of everything that you're going to build upon. I feel.
Yeah, being like, what are you into? Like, who are you fundamentally?
Okay. Hey, man, what an episode that was. You did amazing in it.
And so did you.
You shone like a star.
You shone like a moon.
Can we also put something up here that you can click on for the next episode?
How about we put a subscribe up there in the middle?
Yeah,
We're going to put a video we think that our lovely companionship will love on your face.
On my face?
Yeah.
So
and
they
on
can't see me now?
Gone. And on my face, another video that we think people will love. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please hit like and subscribe. You guys are the best.
Peace and love.